Welcome to the Unstuck Podcast. I'm your host, Sean Miner. This weekly no-fluff mindset show arms you with the practical tools you need to get unstuck so you can get exactly what you want out of life. Remember, when you change your mind, your life will follow. Let's get into today's episode. Hey there, friends. Welcome back to Unstuck. And of course, as always, thank you so much for being here, for tuning in, for checking this out. I appreciate you all so very much. Today, we're going to break down, I guess, the idea, the statement of you create your own reality. If you are even remotely involved in the spiritual world, in the mindset world, the law of attraction world, manifestation world, then you've probably heard someone somewhere say that statement. You create your own reality, or some version of it. I mean, so many different teachers, experts, gurus, authors, podcasters out there are making a similar statement in their teachings. It's really just a well-known thought. And again, it may not be those exact words, but some variety of that. I know I have said it, or some version of that, a lot here on Unstuck. But today, I kind of want to break it down even further. And I want to just focus on that one statement and give you a few different ways that you can see it. And then, of course, use it in your current situation. And I think right now, with the current climate, things going on in the world, which if you're listening to this in the future, I'm recording this as of April 2020, and most of the world is in the thick of the coronavirus, the quarantine life, jobs being lost, businesses being shut down, many people getting sick, many people dying from getting sick, and it's a scary, weird, unknown time. So just for those listening in the future, that's what I'm going to be kind of relating it back to. But the information, of course, that we'll be talking about is good for anybody, anytime, anywhere, very much needed. So we're going to look at you create your own reality from the lens of both present and future. So you create your present and you create your future. So that's how I want to kind of twist it a little bit, because it works in both ways very, very well and really brings in two different angles to this one statement. Quickly, before I do that, I just want to let everybody know the collective community has been formed. Our first ever, we're building the blocks of this community, this Mindset for Women Unstuck community. And it's been formed, and we actually exceeded capacity overnight. I didn't realize that was going to happen, and it did. So we have completely sold out, and I'm so grateful. I'm so excited. I just already can feel how amazing this is going to be for every single woman in there. So excited to start with that. And then, like I said, you will have another opportunity to become a member later on this year. So if that was something that you wanted to be a part of and you didn't quite get there fast enough, or if over the next few months you realize that you do want to take your mindset work to the next level, like you see how much it's working, you see how important it is, you see that it's been something that you've been kind of missing the boat for most of your life, then you can always head over to seanminer.com/collective and put your name on the wait list. That is basically going to guarantee you a spot when the doors open again later on this year. So seanminer.com/collective to get on that wait list, and you'll be the first to know when it's back open. And then I do just also want to remind you, over at seanminer.com/wallpapers, you can get access to a free digital wallpaper library. There are now 9 wallpapers to choose from. And these are things, they're nicely designed, not by me because I'm not a designer, by my designer, professional designer. They're backgrounds for your tablet, your computer, your phone. And they just have these quick, lovely, positive affirmations, these high vibe reminders. Don't you agree that we could probably all use that right now, especially as we're looking at our electronic devices, to have that brief reminder to breathe, to let go, to relax and allow? If you're feeling like that could help you, head over to seanminer.com/wallpapers. You will get instant access to your choice of any of those. If you already have had access and you've already been using your digital wallpapers, don't forget to change them out. Now is a really good time to put something fresh up there so that you have, everything goes into a background and you stop looking at those words as you check your phone. Switch it up. So now it becomes something new in your life and you start seeing those words again. You start getting those reminders. As soon as you have access, you can do that as much as you want. Okay, so head back there if you already have access and switch them up. So just wanted to remind you of that. And I have more things in store for you. I have some things up my sleeve over the next few weeks to really connect with you all and give you some additional tools you can use right now to feel a little better, to calm yourself a little bit more, to relieve some stress, some negativity, some anxiety, and try to become a little bit more aware and present in what's going on, what you're feeling, what you're thinking, and take it from there. So we'll be doing some more stuff in the future, so be on the lookout for that. All right, let's dive in to this topic today. We'll kick it off with a quote. See, we're going back to how things used to be before the world got shaken up. We're going back to our old podcast format, complete with a quote. And this is from one of my favorite people of all time. I think a lot of you will agree, Oprah. This is her version of you create your own reality. She says, you are co-creating your life with the energy of your own intentions. Ooh, I love it. Let me say that again from Miss Oprah. You are co-creating your life with the energy of your own intentions. All right, here are my two interpretations of this idea. First, like I said, you create your own present. Now, I think this one is a little bit more practical. This one, I think a lot of us can wrap our heads around, can really see and feel and experience the difference here. This is where, regardless of what is happening around us, which pretty much all of life, there's a lot happening around us in our experience, right? There's always something that we can stress over, something that we can get negative about, something that we can worry about. It's always there. Now, especially in this time of a global crisis, definitely very present for every single person. But regardless of what's happening around us, it is our choice as to how we choose to perceive it. So you can choose, you are in complete control of if something is scary or peaceful, confusing or exciting, sad, happy, boring, thrilling. We have the choice. It is 100% up to us to create our own experience of the present. We get to choose what we take away from that experience, what we see, what we think about that experience, how we take it in, how we respond. We have the choice. And the ultimate goal here is to be at peace, to find calmness, to find acceptance with the uncertainty of life, no matter what happens. No matter what, you always have this deep sense of peace, acceptance, presence, and just calmness. Because like I said, Unwanted things are always going to happen. That will never change. We will always be presented with hard stuff. Always. And yeah, also, those hard things are also going to come with some hard emotions. It's going to happen. We may have those unwanted emotions because we have some unwanted things going on, but then ultimately we can choose to make a shift. And this is what I think is really important now. It is completely normal and acceptable and expected, really, to have some negative emotions around what's going on in the world right now. When you see the news headlines, when you even take a look at Instagram, I mean, we're just bombarded with these negative stories. These unwanted things are bombarding us right now. And it's normal to respond with a negative emotion or an unwanted emotion. But what I really want to drive home is that point then when you have a choice. So you initially may have this gut reaction that's negative, stress, fear, anxiety. But then what do you do beyond that? Do you let that keep going, keep simmering inside of you? Or do you choose to make a shift? And so I hope that you can see that I'm not saying to not feel your feelings here, right? All emotions are relevant, all emotions are warranted, and all emotions need to be felt and expressed. You need to work through those emotions. So please know that I am not trying to sound callous or like you shouldn't feel negatively about what's going on. That's not what I'm saying. I do not want you to try to cover up your actual emotions. I want you to express them and feel them. And then once that's done, where can we go from there? Can we not stay in that emotion? Can we choose to find this level of peace or compassion or kindness or acceptance, presence beyond that? And that is you creating your own reality by you creating your own present moment. You have the choice to decide how you want to feel at any given moment. And we're going to go over this more coming up. But remember, how you feel is a direct response to what you think. So if you would like to feel differently, first you need to figure out, what thought am I thinking that's making me feel this fear or this anxiety? Find that thought and then see what you can do to alter it, alter the thought, and the emotion will go along with it. And honestly, it may not even be finding a better thought in regards to what originally prompted that negative emotion. Quite often, it's just finding something else to focus on. So if you can't find a better feeling thought in that same realm, go find something else that makes you feel good. Go play with your dog, go take a walk, go hug your partner, do something that changes and takes away what you are currently thinking and puts that focus onto something entirely different that feels good. So that's another note, is that you don't have to try to find a better feeling thought, say with an illness and it taking over the whole world. You don't need to find necessarily something that feels good within that, although cool if you can, that's great. It's wonderful because it's going to help the next time you see more information come out that will help, because you'll be able to go back to that good feeling thought around that subject. But if you can't, just go find something else that feels good. Remember, you create your own present. You create your own experience in every single moment of every single day. It's all up to you. You have the choice. Now let's move into you create your own future. So this is the version of you create your own reality that I personally super duper love. This is what brings in the energy and vibration and law of attraction and universe. All of that starts getting discussed here in this version of You Create Your Own Reality is when we talk about the future. So I took a direct quote, another quote today from Abraham Hicks, who is a big contributor to the You Create Your Own Reality discussion. They say it quite a bit and it really resonates with me, but let me just go over this quote because I think it's really a good one. You have been dabbling with creation through action rather than through vibration. You've convinced yourself that the world operates by you just defining what you want and then using your physical willpower or strengths to make it so. Now, let me sum that up in my words, which is really that creation, so you creating the life that you want and everything that you experience, creation is done through vibration, not by random action or efforting or trying or striving. It's done through vibration. And because you have listened to the Unstuck podcast, and if you haven't, now's your chance to catch up in episodes, 2, 3, 4, all of them, but definitely back in those first few episodes, those foundational episodes, we talked about everything in this whole experience being made up of energy. We are vibrational beings. Everything about us as humans is just vibrating energy. Every single thing about us and everything else around us is also vibrating energy. Your table, your chair, your cat, your banana, everything is vibrating energy. And we can see this from a scientific level now called quantum physics. If you are more of a science person, go study that. You'll be fascinated. So everything we can see is vibrating particles of energy, but so is everything we cannot see, the non-physical part of this experience, which there's many, many, many things that are non-physical. Think of gravity. We can't see gravity working. We can't see electricity working, but we know it's there. We trust it. It's part of our non-physical experience. And it's just energy. So now that we know that everything is energy, that means that we are all also connected because of this energy. We are all part of the same universal energy. And that means we're all also bound to these universal laws. They apply to every single one of us, to every single thing. And one of those laws is the law of attraction, which in a very simplistic description says that like attracts like. That's all it says. Now, that applies to energy and the frequencies that our energy vibrates at. Let's apply this to You Create Your Own Reality. So when you have a desire, a version of the you, the human that you want, we all have that, right? We all have something that we desire. We all have a picture of ourselves in a different aspect than what we currently are. So once you have that desire, it becomes a thing. It becomes a thing and it has its own vibrational energy. It is vibrating at its own frequency. Now, of course, because it's the version of you that is happy and free and having fun and at peace and confident, all of these high vibe emotions, it's also going to have a pretty high frequency of vibration, right? That idea of that version of you that you want. So This is just helps me. I don't know if this will help you, but this is how I visualize this in my head. So I have this version of me and my experience, my life that I want. That is not my current experience, but it is now my desire. So I visualize it as this bubble or a cloud almost. It's like this cloud in my experience, in my mind's eye, that's floating around holding my desire. So it's out there. It's a real thing. It's a non-physical thing, but it's out there and it's real. So the more I think about it as becoming a sure thing, like it's definitely going to happen, I'm super excited about it. I feel really positive about it. I believe it's going to happen. So the more I focus on that and do that, then it starts floating closer to me. It starts moving towards me and becoming more a part of my experience, my current experience. And then as I start focusing on not having it or what I don't want it to look like or how it currently isn't happening or that it can't actually come true, the further that cloud of my desire moves away from me. So that is my visualization. I just made it up because it just popped in my head as something that worked. So that might work for you too. But it does put into perspective how you need to think and feel about your desire in order to bring it in, and then how you would think or feel in order to push it away. So that kind of gives a visual representation of that. But what this really is just focusing on what you want and feeling really good about it and getting excited for it to come into your reality and having this sense of what I call peaceful knowing. Like you know it's going to happen. You're excited, but you're at peace with where you're at now because you know that's coming in. So you're just going to, enjoy life every moment of every day now, knowing what's on its way. Peaceful knowing. And then the other side of that coin is refraining from focusing on what you don't want. So focusing on what you want and feeling bad about it not being there already or not thinking it's actually going to happen or thinking that you're asking for too much or just not believing in it, that, which I mentioned before, or focusing on what you don't want. And this is, like I've mentioned many times on the show already, this is what we do really well. We as humans are very good at focusing on what we don't want, putting all our attention on what we don't want. And just remember, that's going to push that bubble with your desire further away. So in doing this, as you can see, and I think a lot of you know because you've listened to past episodes, in doing this, we practice the vibration of what we do want and leave behind the vibration of what we don't want. Now remember, like attracts like, and that includes vibrational energy. So you have to be a match for your desire bubble. You have to be a match to that in order for it to come into your experience and to become a reality. And once again, just like the other version we talked about earlier, it boils down to your thoughts. You create your own reality through thoughts. You can see that here. Thoughts turn into emotions, emotions turn into actions, and actions turn into things. That becomes our reality, and it all stems from our thoughts. So in order to practice the vibration of what you do want, you have to think in accordance with that level of vibration. You have to think the thoughts that are going to give you the emotion that corresponds to the vibration of your desire, that desire bubble. So your current emotions have to be a match for your desire bubble. And once again, as you know, we are in control of our thoughts. Now, yes, sometimes our ego takes over. Sometimes our limiting beliefs, our stories take over. And then it doesn't feel like we're in control of our thoughts because it seems like we are thinking things we don't want to think and feeling things we don't want to feel, and you don't know how to change that. If that's you, you have to still do that work on understanding your limiting beliefs, understanding those stories. And honestly, I think right now, in this time of uncertainty and chaos and loss and fear, a lot of limiting beliefs are coming to the surface. I know they are for me. I've been doing lots of journaling and work lately, trying to understand those and trying to squash them, essentially, to redesign them. And if that's something that you are feeling right now, if those limiting beliefs have come up for you, especially in this time, episode 9 is going to be your friend. It's called You Can Change Your Limiting Beliefs. So head there and listen to that and start doing some of the work now in your possible free time, if you are someone that has more free time now because of the stay-at-home order. If that's you, spend some time on those limiting beliefs, especially if you're like, yeah, I know I want to feel this high vibe. I know my desire bubble is there and I'm currently pushing it away, but I can't seem to figure out how to think differently. It's those stories. They're still there. They are still taking over, and you need to take back control of those thoughts. You are in complete control. You have the 100% power to change those thoughts, which means you change your reality. Change your thoughts, change your emotion, change your reality. Both now and in the future. Like we just saw, you can do it right now, but also that future version of you, you're creating that. You are creating that right now. All right, so your homework for today, I'm just going to change this. First of all, if you are feeling some stories and limiting beliefs pop up right now because of how your life has been affected by the current state of affairs, go back to episode 9 and do that work. That's your homework first. The second piece of your homework, I really want you to think of a time, because we all have one. We all have one. Think of a time when you created your own reality. The best way to really solidify this for you is to have proof. And I can tell my stories all day long. I told a story in the last episode about how I manifested my home, which was me creating my reality. And so you have that story, but you also all have your own stories of this working. Now, it may be a story of you creating a negative situation in your life, a negative experience because of your negative emotions and your negative thoughts. That is a reality too. But it could also be where you felt really good about something. You had this peaceful knowing, something that you wanted, knew it was going to happen, set it aside, and then it happened. You have that too. So I want you to do some digging and see what you can come up with. Of course, I would recommend writing it down. You know, I recommend writing everything down. Journaling is your best friend. If you really get into it, you will just love it. Write it down, because the cool thing is you will be able to read it right then and there and see like, wow, this is actually really true. But then in a week or a month or a year, you can go back and read that again in case you start getting into this idea of, well, maybe this doesn't work, or maybe this isn't how life works. You have your own proof written down right there. So that's your homework for today. Thank you everyone so much for tuning in today, and every episode that you've tuned into means the world to me. If there is anything that you feel called to doing to support this show right now, it would be so huge. Leaving a review, sharing it on your Instagram, sharing it with a friend, anything would be so helpful in these times. I really believe that much of the world needs to hear these messages, and now is the best time to get started for so many reasons. And I would love to help as many people as I can right now. And your word of mouth means everything to this show and to getting the word out there and helping people. So if you have that ability, if that feels good for you and your intuition, I would love to anything that you can do to support the show. All right, my friends, until next time, take care.